Hello. Nice seeing you again. I hope you are enjoying my videos. I thought I would share my life's experiences maturing as a person with spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy. For unknown reason, people have mistaken my disability for multiple sclerosis. I have no idea why. CP is usually from an accident from birth, whereas in multiple sclerosis, the body's own immune system attacks the central nervous system and causes damage, which slows or stops nerve communication. MS can start at any age, but usually it begins around age 20 to 40. MS affects individuals differently. The same with cerebral palsy. Since I understand the complexities of cerebral palsy, I will explain the disability from my point of view. The full title of my physical disability is spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy. Try saying that 5 times fast. Spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy limits my ability to speak clearly, stand on my feet, feed myself, and perform personal tasks by myself. I have an attendant who assists me with my daily necessities for 10 hours, 7 days. I am fortunate to have assistance overnight as well. My daily routine consists of my overnight assistant getting me in my power wheelchair, pulling my hair back in a hair claw clip before he leaves for work. Once in my wheelchair, I am pretty self-sufficient. I am able to grab a can of Coke from the fridge, place it on my desk in my bedroom and open it by flipping the tab with my front teeth. I have been opening a can of Coke that way for 20 years. Here's a tip for CPers. Use an empty peanut butter jar that has a defined ridge on its top. My favorite to use is a Skippy jar. The defined ridge on its top ensures that the jar will not tip over when you pull on the tab. Flip the jar upside down and cut the jar so it measures about 4 inches. For me, I prefer not to have the outside of the jar where my bottom lip rests. For easy handling of the jar with a can of Coke inside it, I punch a hole about a ½ inch from the cut-off top and fasten a split ring in the hole. I devised this by myself. Now, you will be able to grab a beverage from your fridge by yourself. To use the facilities independently is very tricky. I have no ability to transfer from my wheelchair to the toilet by myself safely, so I had to come up with another way to do it. At first, I tried transferring myself from my wheelchair to the toilet like I did at my parents' house. Pull down whatever, swing away the footrests from the front of the wheelchair, park in front of the toilet, grab the handlebar on the wall with my right hand, bad hand, and thrust myself onto the toilet seat. And, to get back in the wheelchair, grab the armchair bar on the left side of the wheelchair with my right hand and thrust myself into my wheelchair. When I felt secure enough on the edge of the seat, I moved the wheelchair back from the toilet, closed one footrest, pushed back on the footrest until I was in the wheelchair safely. Then, I moved away from the toilet to close the other footrest. Pushed myself up off the wheelchair seat and pulled up my pants. A lot of work to use the toilet. When I moved from my parents' house, I had to come up with a way to use the facilities efficiently. I came up with an idea to use a bedpan on my wheelchair seat. Now, before you crinkle your face and say ooh, this was and still is much safer than trying to transfer to and from the toilet, and quicker. Place the wheelchair next to the toilet. Pike up in your wheelchair as high as you can. Grab the bedpan and slide it underneath you. When you're finished, pike up. Grab the bedpan however possible and place it on the toilet seat. Depending on the ability of your arms and hands, pull up your pants. In my case, I cannot do that. So I sit on a towel for hygienic purposes. It's not as degrading as it sounds. Ask yourself, would you rather be able to use the bathroom by yourself in your own home, or be in a group facility only because you cannot use the bathroom yourself? I choose the former. From age 3 until 11, I lived at the home of the Merciful Savior for Crippled Children in West Philadelphia. Opened in 1882, HMS was the first institution of its kind in the nation. During my residency, I had extensive physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and ADL activities for daily living. The only therapy that helped me was experience. One knows what is possible and impossible through trial and error. When I graduated from HMS, I could feed and dress myself, and somewhat speak well enough that people could understand me. But expectations at the HMS were not enough to succeed in the social realm. The 8 years of extensive therapy fell to the wayside. Life moved much faster outside the home of the Merciful Savior. The only deterioration that annoyed my parents was my speech. My parents thought that as time passed, my speech would improve. Clearly, that was not the case. I knew that I would never have clear enunciation. They had a CAT scan performed on me to see whether doctors could remove the damaged part of my brain. HM. My parents knew that would graduate from Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania in 1997 with a bachelor's degree in English writing. As far as getting hired by an employer, that was a whole different obstacle. I never held a 9-to-5 position anywhere because no employer took a chance on me. I tried getting hired by Liberty Resources, a not-for-profit agency where they advocate for disabled consumers' rights. But they said that I was overqualified to work there. So I didn't fit in anywhere. Full disclosure, I did work with 2 online friends as an information researcher that was short-lived. That's the extent of my participation in the workforce. I tried getting a position at NBC 10 as an editor, but of course they overlooked me. So I kept my occupational expectations to myself and wrote essays for therapeutic purposes. I write essays on any topic that I see noting. I tried being an armchair reporter, but no one reads my articles I would post on Facebook. As Don Henley said, writing is a solitary endeavor. Seldom do you receive any feedback. Now, the emotional aspect of cerebral palsy. This is where the spectrum is very broad. Some people with cerebral palsy have high emotional tolerance amongst others, while some become agitated easily. I fall in the latter. I began this article with the purpose to educate you about cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy is like a fingerprint. No two persons with cerebral palsy are the same. I hope this video is informative.